Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. I'll call the meeting to order. This is a special called meeting today. Let's see. First item on the agenda is to consider amending the 2018-19 school calendar. Mr. Freeman, you've been busy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board members come to you today. As you know, we've had some inclement weather this past week, and so trying to adjust our calendar that meets the KRS school calendar guidelines. We can use, we need to approve the addition of 4 student instructional days, and we can use these instructional days for Monday, February 18th, which is currently a professional development day on the calendar. Friday, March 1st, which is a staff work day, and Friday, March 22nd, which is also a staff work day. And then we would have to make May 22nd, which is a Wednesday, a student instructional days, and then this would put us right on track with making up all of our instructional days of having 170. What is the day before on that Wednesday is Election Day, which is our last scheduled work day. So we would have kids come Monday, work day, and then a Wednesday. So not the right scenario, but we may not be done yet. So, but and then also we would, Mr. Davis declared January 29th and January 31st as staff work days, which is part of the board policy. So just asking for you to approve those changes. Again, Monday, February 18th, Friday, March 1st, Friday, March 22nd, and Wednesday, May 22nd, as well as those 2 staff work days.
Okay.
Any questions?
So the last day will be?
Last day for kids would be Wednesday, the 22nd.
Yep.
What we do have is, what we're going to do, I thought we'd wait till March to finalize, and that would be the professional, we would put in the professional development day and closing day. Instead of doing that today, we could just wait until this weather is behind us, and we can put those in at the March board meeting, and that way, hopefully, we wouldn't have to do it again. Because I have a feeling if we do it now, we're going to have to come back and change that again. Now, what that does, and I've talked to Mr. Davis about this, what is possible, say we miss another day, but he feels that the staff can get to the school, we can use that as a work day, and then what we'll do is that PD day, we'll plug that into Election Day. So that's really our only other option now. From here on out, it's pretty much, kids are going to be going 23rd of May if we miss again, but that's the only sort of option we have that will...
So each day missed will go each day?
Right, yes, sir,
extra.
that is correct, yes, sir.
Except one day you could work it out.
Right, for the work day,
That
right.
PD and
Yes, sir.
get it. So, yeah, they like to hear that.
Okay, are there any questions? If not, I need a motion to amend the calendar.
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Johar. Second. Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of approving the 2018-19 school calendar amendment, which will make February 18th a professional development day, March 1st a staff work day, March 22nd a staff work day, May 22nd student instructional day, as well as January 29th and January 31st a staff work day. Say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And we'll move down, thank you. We'll move on down to considering the SFCC fiscal year 19 KETS Officer of Assistance. Eric?
Thank you, Chairman Reagan, board members. This is the second offer of assistance. It's matched funds that we normally would spend anyway, so it's good that it helps double our money basically for this. So the offer was $29,136, and I'm asking that you all approve this offer.
Okay, is there any questions? If not, I make a motion to approve the SFCC offer of assistance. Second by Mr. Johar. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And then we're down to considering the 3-year audit agreement extension with Car Rigs and Ingram.
Thank you again. As you know, the Car Rigs and Ingram have provided good service for us. They rotate the auditors that come in, so, you know, there's no familiarity that develops with the auditors. And I think it's a good partnership that we have with them. So I'm asking that we extend the agreement that we have with them for 3 years. And actually, the cost went down for the first year, and the second year is less than we've spent now, and then the last year, it's only gone up a couple $100 from our current rate.
Why is the change just inflation?
KDE allows you to raise it $1,000 annually, but they won't let you go beyond $1,000, but they've incrementally raised it just to kind of keep up with, I think, with a little bit
I
of
was just
inflation.
wondering because it is like $600 each year
Right.
difference.
But they actually adjusted it down
Right.
from our current rate, so there's only 1 year.
What were you paying now?
It was $29,000. I have to look at this up.
So it was more what you were paying? Okay, that's fine.
Is there any further discussion? No, I need a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Johar.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of approving the 3-year audit agreement extension with Car Rigs and Ingram, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And we'll move down to considering the 1920 student accident insurance.
Thank you again. This is the same accident insurance that we have for uninsured students or students that it's a supplemental policy that will cover co-insurance, deductible, that sort of thing. So it won't cover all their deductible, but it'll cover up to a certain percent of their expenses that they have out of pocket. It's a good relationship building thing and between the district and the parents, and it also helps cover those kids that don't have any insurance that may participate in activities. That way they have that insurance that allows them to participate in after-school activities such as sports. And the premium went down $189. So for the last 3 years running, the premiums decreased, which is fantastic. So I'm asking that we approve the student insurance.
Well, any decrease is great. I'll make a motion to approve the bid for the student accident insurance for the 1920 school year.
Second.
Second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of approving the bid for the student accident insurance for the amount of $52,131.40 from our current carrier, K&K Insurance, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just stay there, Eric, if you want to. I'll put you in front of Mr. Freeman.
And then we'll do your superintendent comments, Mr.
Yeah.
Davis.
And these aren't voting items, but I just want to give you a couple of updates. So Eric's going to talk about some things going on with our energy project we have coming up, and then we'll have Mr. Freeman be talking about the tennis report.
Okay. So in the email that I sent to you all about these agenda items, just to kind of try to pull it off of the regular board meeting, because we're going to have a few things going on with the energy bonding project. The first thing that we're going to have to do is, in order to sell bonds, is that the District Finance Corporation, which is all of you again, is going to have to meet prior to the regular board meeting and approve the sale of the bonds, so that you, the board, can then go on and have a RSA sell those bonds so we can get that bonding in place prior to the project. Then after that bonding is in place, that's when we'll discuss the contract that Train brings us. We're going to have a discussion with them next week. some of the leadership team in order to just kind of iron out the contract, go over some of the high points, allow me to read it and make sure that, everything is good. There's also a great deal of the contract that you'll have. I think it's AIC it's the engineer, architects agreements like you've seen in the past. It's a standardized agreement, and the majority of it'll be standardized, but some of the high points that they have that are site specific, we're going to have them go over that with us next Tuesday. That way we can pass that information along to you. As soon as I have a contract in hand, I will get it to Sherry in order to get and attach it to the decision paper. I may not have some of those key points pointed out at that point, but I do want you guys to have the contract in hand as soon as humanly possible. But then after that, I may update what I send out to you all and say, here are some of the key points, and if you have any questions, please let me know so I can have some of those answered prior to the board meeting. That's really the gist of that, but we wanted to get that, I wanted you guys to have an idea of what's going to happen for the next board meeting, because it's kind of a little convoluted process, because you do have to have that finance corporation meet prior, then we'll have to adjourn that meeting, then open up the regular meeting.
So we have to advertise that, Sherry, special call meeting, I assume?
As a special hearing.
Yes, and so what are we thinking, 5 o'clock, or
I think,
how much time we need?
Honestly, 5:15 would be fine, because it's plenty of time for, and someone from RSA, the bonding agent, will be here to go over those if you have any questions or anything to that effect. And again, if you do have any bonding questions, please let me know that, and I'll send those out prior and try to get as much of that answered beforehand as possible. And then they'll stay through the regular board meeting. And again, if there are any questions that you may have or you may think of between the Finance Corporation meeting and the regular board meeting, they're really good at what they do, and they're very knowledgeable. So that's all I got, sir.
All right, take care.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Freeman, you want to go over the tennis report, correct?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman and board members, I believe Sherry's got the hard copy for you as far as in your board packet. Going over just briefly the fifth month attendance report, which December 5th, 2018, and ended January the 14th, 2019. Attendance for that month was 92.23 compared to 93.34 last year. That fifth month, not a good month. We were doing well. We had 3 bad days that were anywhere between 80 and 85, and that brought us down. We'd be right on target, and so. But the flu did hit a little bit this month, not as much as this month as that fifth month. So hopefully that I have looked at the numbers, that they look a little better than last year, but not making up that over point, though, I'll be honest with you. We are still, as far as the year, a little surprised we're only down 0.4 considering that month, but still there's a chance we could get back and get close to that 95 for the year, 94.45. That's sort of what I'm shooting at. Enrollment, 4,517, and compared to last year, 4,626, which is a difference of 109 from last year. From the last day of school, we're only down 27 students, and we did go up 18 students from the previous month. The fourth month, we went up 18 students. So I say this, we're seeing sort of a somewhat of a stabilizing, which I told Mr. Davis, which was good. We don't want to get into that where we're down from the last day of school, 60, 70, 80 kids. That would be concerning to me. If we can keep it under 40 and close the gap, I think that's really going to give us and give Mr. Bletzinger some more information, numbers to work with. Our current enrollment is, as of Friday, didn't do today, but as of Friday is 4,523. So still, and that's up 6. That's losing a couple from the he's gaining 6 from the close of the month. So, do you have any questions?
Do we have any count on where these 109 kids went to? Not each one of them, but majority?
It's going to be a combination of moving, homeschool.
Is there any way we track any of these info just for,
As far as which of those 109,
like, not all of it, but majority, where did we go? Did they move majority of them? Did they, change district, whatever?
I'd say probably of those 109, the difference you're probably looking at, I'm just a guess, probably 70% move, 30% homeschool.
But we don't actually track when they leave, where they go, or, we don't.
Not those specific, yeah. If you were to pull up a student's enrollment, any student, I can tell where they went. Now, as far as, when I look at the 109, I don't know which specific kids. I guess I could figure that out, but.
No, but, just.
But it's mainly moving or homeschool. That's what it is.
So homeschool is continuing to increase?
We're getting probably, I usually average about 5 a week.
Yeah, but the ones
And then you also bring another factor in where we got kids coming in too.
Right.
So that's pretty tough
I can't name them, but
to narrow down.
What are they learning?
But obviously, it's going to another district or homeschool. That's going to be any year. It's just which is which.
And that's I met with some superintendents on Friday. We had a meeting, and this is one of the topics. Is homeschool it's a problem. It's a problem everywhere. Be it for the right reasons sometimes, or sometimes for maybe what I would consider not as good of reasons. When you worry about are the kids getting what they need. In some cases, they certainly are, but that it's hitting us hard, and it's hitting other areas as well, and that's kind of hard to combat right now. And we're trying to figure out what we can do to better combat that.
And obviously, this is
it common around Western Kentucky?
It's everywhere. Everywhere, not just here, everywhere. And so you're beginning to hear some dialogue with the legislators as far as, they're at least talking about it. What are some things we could do? Because right now there's literally no, how should I say this? Accountability other than attendance, and there's no testing that they do. There's nothing like that. They can choose their own curriculum as long as they're teaching the subjects. It doesn't matter what they're teaching in the subjects, and then they're keeping up with attendance. Those are the only 2 requirements. There's no end of year testing in homeschool, or there's none of that. And so that's a key problem that
I would say 10% of them probably really parents paying attention and really teaching.
Well, to be sure, in some cases it is happening very well. And we don't want to pretend that's not the case, and sometimes it's best for a kid. We don't want to say that's not the case, but it's fair to say we are concerned about several of them, is what's best, and is the accountability actually there?
And I usually talk with the parents and have a little dialogue and try to a conversation, to sort of get, some of the reasons and so forth. And probably 95% of the ones that do homeschool, I'm having a conversation with, in some capacity. And so you just support their decision. You give them the information that they need, what's beneficial, what are some things to consider.
So what are their typical reasons for making that change?
Anxiety. Kids don't like it. The child wants to do it.
Basically, they're taking advantage of the law.
Some every now and then will be because of safety, like a situation that's a very small percentage. So it's tough to combat that. You just give them the information, and especially with high school, I had to go in a little bit more depth with high school because you get into the credits and losing credits. You don't want, a student to go to February, and if they go to a homeschool, they're not going to get any credits. What they've done is going to have to start all over again wherever they're homeschooling. So I try to, emphasize that, and if that's their choice, that's what they want to do. But they're leaving 6 and 7 credits on the table if they do that.
Is it true, Lee, that some of them parents or some single mother or single father is taking the kid out homeschool so she or he can work and support the house?
When we have situations like that, when money is an issue, we try to push the kids to do the MOVE program, because that's one of the requirements, or one of the criteria is, some of the economically challenged, and hey, they want to go to school, but they need money to help with the family, whether it be a couple $100s a week. Those are some things that we provide. That's let's get them stay in school, go, do the MOVE program, and you can still work. And so we have, several kids that do that. And it still keeps them enrolled in the school system, and it gives them, and usually when you have those cases, they're really close to graduating, whether they be 18 or not, or really close. And so we try to push that, because they're, only lacking 6, 7, 8 credits usually. And
With some success.
yes.
With that.
Yeah, the MOVE program's doing really well as far as the kids we have enrolled in the MOVE right now. It's very successful. I wish they were in school, but they're not. But there is a lot of success stories over there with the MOVE. We have a lot of kids that are completing their diplomas, and we do have several that go to homeschool, stay out of homeschool for a year or two, and they want to come back. Well, it's a credit situation, so the best way to get them involved back in the school and get them up to date is through the MOVE program, so.
That's something, listen to Mr. Watkins sometimes when he does his principal reports or whatever, during our board meetings, he'll talk about the MOVE program. That's what he's talking about.
So that is a good, helpful program.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's all I had. I just wanted to bring a couple of those things up while we were, just to get caught up.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we are finished, so I just need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye.
Thank you, guys.